in, guys. Winning night last night, 1-1 with 3 units on the Pelicans, but not pulling it out there. Late night Denver Nuggets yet again. Twice in a row they get us at home. Well, technically we got them against them at Houston, but twice we're at home. They don't cover. Up 5 late, don't hit the free throws. Reggie Jackson has a vendetta against us and then late turnover, so can't pull it out. Crazy night in the NBA/UFC. Multiple fights going on. Draymond Green getting headlocks, John. I know that riles you up a good bit there. Hate seeing that.
Yeah, he'll be suspended. I don't even know what this guy's doing in the NBA. He's a joke. Talented, no question about it. Facilitator, can play defense, but the antics, I've had enough of it. He's just ejected a couple of games ago. He's looking at a suspension. As far as Denver, man, Joker, what are you doing to me? So, yeah, everything put aside. We can talk about Reggie Jackson, missed free throws. If you guys remember a couple of days ago, last week, was our last bet. Denver was -3.5 against Golden State. We lose by half a point. Reggie Jackson splits his free throws, but Joker missed both of them. So the bet, Reggie Jackson, I'm going to deal with. Reggie Jackson is sitting in for Jamal Murray while he's gone, and he's not doing a terrible job. 17 and change points per game over the last 3 games. That's what you can expect. All you can expect from him. But from the best player on the planet, you can't miss 2 free throws in the end of the game like he did against the Warriors. And then last night, 8 for 23. That's Joker's worst shooting game of the year. He had not shot less than 50% in any game this season, and he waited for us to have another bet on him. So the Nuggets, who had not lost at home, Clippers, who had not won on the road, Clippers, who had not won with Harden, the Nuggets, who had won 9 of the 10, everything going for them, and they let the Clippers get that cover. Should have never happened, but it did. So bigger bet on the Pelicans. Hope everybody was on that. Nuggets let us down yesterday, and we'll take a small plus. That's 7 of 8 winning days. Got to go on from there. As far as other stuff that's going on, we're talking about Golden State and what Draymond Green, he's a clown, whatever he's trying to prove. I don't know, like he's some tough guy or something. It's not for the NBA. But anyway, you got a Golden State franchise. They're going to play Oklahoma City tomorrow. And I was just saying with Ben, these are 2 franchises that are passing ships in the night. Golden State on the descent and OKC on the climb. This OKC team, man, they did it right. They tanked. Oh, yeah. They traded. They stockpiled the picks, and then they got some players now. And right now you got a Golden State team, 35-year-old Curry, third in the NBA with 30-plus points per game, but he's feeling it. The knee's gone. Clay, he's showing his age getting there, and Dre just doing what Dre does, being an asshole. So, yeah, the OKC and Golden State go at it tomorrow night, and here's a matchup where Golden State's won 10 of the last 11 meetings, and they just won at OKC. But Thunder played them real tough and covered, losing only by 2 points, and played without Shai. Shai averaging over 33 points per game in the 5 games since missing that game, and OKC 4-1 in that span since that last loss. And Golden State, well, they just haven't won a game on this homestand, lost 4 straight. Their only cover was the cover against us at Denver, plus 3.5. They haven't covered a game at home all year. 1-4 now. Their only win against Sacramento, a 1-point win when Sac played without Fox. So again, Golden State on the descent and on the rise. OKC, we'll get a look at that tomorrow. What did you got about NBA from last night, Ben?
Yeah, crazy. Just the way that all went down. 2 minutes into the game, it looked a little bit scripted. There's some beef in the back end of the game, but what you're talking about as far as OKC, trending upwards, Golden State's trending downward. You have the crazy thing with OKC is they haven't even gotten to their plethora of picks yet. They still have, I think it's over the next 4 years, over 16 first-round picks, including 8 first-round picks in the next 2 seasons, which is just ridiculous. They own a fifth of the draft essentially for the next 2 years. So it's going to be interesting how they go about it, how much they draft, how much they go for in trades and free agent, everything else. Yeah, they got some chips to play with OKC. looked phenomenal last night against the Spurs. Excited for that matchup coming up. And then just as far as some of the other games last night, I mean, Pelicans finally looked like they shook it off. And is Indiana going to be, in this legit conversation? Are they going to sneak their way into the top teams in the East now? You have, obviously, it was a win against the Sixers. Sixers in a little bit of a letdown spot. But hey, Pacers leading the league in scoring, getting it done, playing good basketball. And I don't think they're quite Celtics, Milwaukee, Philly, but they're definitely ahead of, to me, in the rest of the East, and a good amount of maybe the Knicks ahead of them still. Cleveland, obviously, but I think they're on that tier now. They're on that tier with Cleveland and the Knicks, and they're climbing.
I have them below Cleveland and the Knicks. They're in that next tier, just fighting above with the just over maybe, or fighting with Brooklyn. Don't sleep on Brooklyn. Love what Brooklyn's doing, and two big pieces right now sitting out, Simmons and Thomas, who actually leads the team scoring. Dinwiddie steps up last night, 29 points. Bridges gives him 21. Cam Johnson, remember, he missed a big chunk. He puts in 20. Claxton's back. Nice little squad Brooklyn has. Again, not going to challenge. Look, there's one team at the head of that list, and that's the Celtics.
Right.
Milwaukee's got to see whatever they got to do. So even if they're even going to challenge right now, they don't even look like they're a challenge. Lillard's got to figure that out. We've talked about Lillard, 3 for 17 in his last game. Let's see if he can put anything together with Giannis tonight in Toronto. But after those top two, which I'm not going to even call it top two. I'm saying Celtics are the best team in basketball right now. And I don't even think it's close. I'm going to put Milwaukee with Philly as the next two, even though Philly's got a win over Boston last week, which we were on as Philly is a home dog. They're in that next level down. They lost a little piece when Kelly Oubre, I'm not trying to laugh at him, but got hit by a car of all things. And he's going to be out quite a while. He was a nice little piece. If they moved Batum into the starting lineup, he was out the last game for personal reasons. Don't know if he's going to make it today, so they moved Covington back in. So give me Celtics, give me Bucks, Philly right there. I'm going to give Philly the edge over the Bucks also right now until I see this Lillard Giannis thing gel. And then it's Cavs, Knicks, and I'll put Miami there, I guess, when the playoffs start, not the regular season, although they have strung together 6 straight wins. Just this team that they rally around diversity. Playoffs come, they're an 8th seed. They get beat by the Hawks in the play-in game. They fucking knock out the Bucks last year. Here they are, Hero out of the game, gets knocked out. He'll be out for a while, and they rally around and they just take they sweep their road. 4 straight road wins. Again, not against the greatest competition. You got San Antonio in there, Charlotte in there, but they did have a nice win at Atlanta. And that's 6 straight wins for them. So Miami will get there when the playoffs start. Indiana can score with anybody or outscore anybody, but they're giving up a ton also. And we always say it, baseball, it's about pitching, and NBA and NFL, you got to play defense, got to stop somebody. So we'll see how if they get anything with that. But they're in that tier to me underneath that Cleveland, Knicks, and when the playoffs start, Miami team and Hawks. Hawks could be a better team. We talked about the Hawks yesterday. As a matter of fact, the line started to move as we were here. We got the Trae Young info. We told you right now, DeJounte Murray will handle that no problem against a team like Detroit. If Trae's out today, different story. Now you're playing a different type of team in the Knicks, so that injury will be bigger. But we'll go through all of those in a bit. Out west, man, you got some more stuff. We're going to get to look at the Suns' big 3 for the first time tonight. As they say, Booker is probable. No. Clippers looked a little bit better last night. Harden looking a little bit better. PG had a game. It just seemed they can't put it all together. But look, there's too much talent for this team not to be better than they are. They've got to get better than they are. So we'll see. Lakers had a breeze game. We'll talk about that. That's one of our bets in today. Let's talk some things about football. What's going on in football, Ben, before we start this NBA?
Yeah, Deshaun Watson going to be out. We originally assumed P.J. Walker was going to be the new quarterback coming in, and I guess they're going with Thompson, Robinson, Earl for whatever reason. We're still waiting on some more reports. We found that out just before we started recording this that they were going to go with him. So, Yet to hear if it's anything injury related as far as PJ Walker. Actually, there's a report here. Let's see what this says. Yeah, Walker's been among the least accurate passers this season, but Thompson Robinson, a 5th-round rookie. Yeah, so nothing yet injury-wise for Walker. So I guess it's just a coaching decision to go with Robinson, which blows my mind. He got stymied by that Ravens defense. I can't imagine what's going to happen with Pittsburgh on Sunday.
Yeah, big blow. He hasn't been right since he's been brought over to the town. What's that, Ben?
I said since he was getting his massages.
Yeah, maybe he needs one. Look, it's with him out. I mean, there's just no chance for Cleveland. They came in with big, high hopes. Chubb, if not your best running back, let's call McCaffrey your best all-purpose running back. But Chubb right up there, hurt game 1. Deshaun Watson hasn't been right the whole season, but this defense good enough to have them right in the thick of things as far as the playoffs. With now Watson out, again, why not go to PJ Walker? He's got a W over the 49ers. No? Let's keep this guy in there. But they're going to go to the kid, so we'll see how that works out for them. I don't think well. As Ben said, he mustered together 3 points in his last start, and that was at a home start against the Ravens. He'll have some more problems with with one quarterback going out, one coming in. Justin Fields, he'll be probable this week for the Bears, a Bears team. They look better on defense. They got a little healthier. Yes, they were playing Carolina, but they looked a little better on defense. We'll see. That line's dropped. Lions were a 10-point favorite. Since Sunday, that line has dropped to 9 on the Fields info. And obviously the Steeler-Brown game, a game that was 4, has dropped to 2. And the total now as low as 33.5. One of the lower totals you're going to see in NFL. And you could still only bet under.
You can only bet under, especially with that matchup. We'll see. Obviously, the first go-around we were just talking about beforehand is all the turnovers that led to it being an over. So there's always a possibility of that. But, yeah, with those two teams, those two quarterbacks, that's an under game or nothing 100%. Got a nice little NBA slate here today, John. We got, what is that, after the in-season tournament yesterday. So we're heading into a couple of days of normal regular season basketball now, as if anything changes. First one, Mavs, Wizards. Mavs coming off a back-to-back. Our winner last night, Pelicans blow the doors off the place. Nobody scored more than 17 at 20 turnovers. A little bit of a rough showing there for Dallas. And then you have this Washington team who the biggest choke job of the season the other night. Wow. And I don't know if you saw the bad beat that went around, but Washington, there's a guy who had a Washington Wizards bet, and he was holding on them to have the team total over 107.5. And they went from 106 with 7.5 minutes left in the fourth and ended the game with 107. So that's the worst bad beat I think I've ever seen in sports. As far as this game tonight, actually leaning to the Wizards. They own this matchup, 8-1 against the spread the last 9 meetings. Dallas on a back-to-back. Washington or nobody. Want more on the number, John?
Yeah, I wanted more on the number, and I wanted, not that I wanted Dallas to win last night because we had the Pelicans, but if Dallas would have won last night, a little bit of a different coming in off a back-to-back with a W. After getting embarrassed like that, expect Dallas to come with a better game. When a game is a breeze like that, and that's what we'll talk about when we talk about our game tonight, which is about the game we bet tonight. Back-to-back and how not only the minutes you play, but how stressful those minutes are. When it's a blowout, man, it's like playing in the park or a pickup game after school. So this game was over quick. So it was an easy game, not a stressful game. 6, I think, is about the right number. Yes, Wizards I've owned that game. But when you blow the lead that the Wizards blew up in Toronto the other night, I can also remember for the Wizards, this is 4th and 6. They did some traveling before that. They started at Nets. So it's still a tough spot for them. But blowing a game like that, just tough. Don't like what they got going on there. Poole, he hasn't looked good since 2 years ago in the finals. He didn't get it done last year as far as I'm concerned with Golden State. Maybe he's a problem. Maybe that's why they got rid of him. It looks like he ain't meshing over there. Kuzma's a player. Other than that, not much on the Wizards. 6 points, the right number for me. I'll be laying off this one.
And we have the Knicks at the Hawks. Knicks coming off that loss to Boston the other night, where Barrett late scratch with the illness, questionable today. And then you have the Hawks back-to-back. They get it done against the Pistons last night. No Trae Young. He didn't play, so he's questionable today. And that's pretty much where we're at with this game, is who plays Trae Young, Barrett, where does the number go from there? So big injury question marks on this one. Knicks, a lot of success in Atlanta in this matchup. Hawks on a back-to-back, so lean is Knicks. Want Barrett in the lineup, though.
Yeah, this game could swing, as we said, by 5 points. Trae in, Barrett out, or vice versa. No really reason to start talking about the game till you know the injuries. What I will say, Knicks won at Atlanta earlier in the year, 126-120. We had the Knicks in that game. They've won 4 of their last 5 meetings at Atlanta. But that 120 is the most points that the Knicks have given up in any one game this season. We'll be on top of the injuries as always. And while we're talking injuries, let's do this real quick, Ben. I meant to do this earlier. So we talked about 4 injury games yesterday. What do we have? We have actually it was 5 injury games if you count the Charlotte game. Charlotte had both Hayward and Miller, 2 starters. Miller being forced into the starting lineup, Rozier out. So with those guys, they wound up not playing. The line went up to 6. The game lands on 6. Miami wins that game. Philly, Embiid was a question mark. We were still looking for Indiana, but wanted a bigger number. The number never went high enough. Only reached 6.5, and they lose the game outright. So important, guys. That look ahead spot, we talk about it all the time. Straight up look ahead to Celtics. Indiana jumped out all over them, and it was not only a look ahead spot. It was also these 2-game series. Just tough to pound a team twice, 2 games in a row, unless you're that much better. Anyway, so Embiid in, but Philly doesn't cover. So that one went against the injury info. Trae Young out last night, but Atlanta covers. So the win goes against the injury info with Trae Young out. If you're just betting injuries, star player out, bet the other team. If you bet the Pistons, you lost. San Antonio, we're going to call them stars, but Keldon Johnson and T. Jones out. OKC absolutely obliterated them. And I've been giving my opinion on San Antonio from the beginning. This is the same squad as last year, except for Wembanyama, and he's not the star that he's going to be someday yet. When he is, it would be a little different. Right now, same San Antonio team as last year, getting trounced by teams here and there. Other injury games, we did get Jones back for the Pelicans. Came back in a big way yesterday. Him and Marshall played his second game back. Remember, we talked about how thin the Pelicans were. McCollum out, and he's been out for a while. Alvarado, Murphy, and Marshall all started the year on the IR. Marshall just returning the last 2 games. So now Marshall, Jones come back a little deeper, and there's that revenge game, that home revenge, another angle we're talking about. 2-game series, Pelicans all over them. That's a game that was over early. That was never in doubt. So they get the win there. And the last couple infos, Curry, no Curry, but then you got no Clay and no Dre after 2 minutes in the game. So Minnesota gets the job done there. And LeBron in for the Lakers, and they sail. And I mean sail. That was a big win for the Lakers. And of course, not only a big win for them yesterday, but it was a big win how they played because they got Sacramento today. They got off to a phenomenal start, which that's where they've been struggling, the Lakers. 74 points in the first half, and that's another breeze game. And that's why, as one of the reasons, as we'll say, we bet the Lakers today. That's our one bet that we're going to be giving you guys, but we'll talk about it more now, Ben. So pick it up, I guess, from where we left off.
Yep, Celtics 76ers, another big injury game here. Porzingis, Jaylen Brown, both questionable. Obviously, 76ers coming off the back-to-back. Embiid was questionable yesterday. I'm sure he's suiting up today, but always got to be aware of that with that tag yesterday. He went 39-12 for 6. They lose to the Pacers in that one. Then you have – they just met last week. 76ers win that one 106-103. Obviously, the Celtics beat them in 7 games in the playoffs last year. And they also won 3 or 4 regular season meetings. So Celtics, a lot of success in the matchup history. Philly, though, obviously this is a matchup they're getting up for. Lean here would be ever so slightly to Philly, but got to see what's going on with Boston. I mean, those injuries can swing it one way or the other.
Huge. No team injuries are more important, I believe, than Boston, just because they're so thin. They may have the best starting five in the league. They just don't have a bench. I mean, once you take Al Horford off the bench, I mean, that's basically it. So Porzingis and Brown. Brown is ill. He was not at shoot around. Porzingis knee. Oh, what a surprise. So two very questionable guys. If you've got both out, this is a close your eyes and bet Philadelphia. Boston is that thin. They'll have a rough time missing two. They're basically six guys. Their five starters is Horford. No. You got Hauser coming off the bench and Pritchard coming off. That's all they played. They played an 8-man rotation against the Knicks, and they were blowing the Knicks out, and they still only went 8 deep. Thin team. If you're missing two starters, you got to go with Philly here.
And we have another Eastern Conference battle. Bucks at Toronto. Bucks coming off a win there against the Bulls. Lillard came back and shot horrible. 3 of 17. We'll see if he gets his rhythm back here in this matchup. Crowder out definitely. Another body. Milwaukee's going to be a bit more shorthanded. And Raptors, I mean, what a come-from-behind win they had over Washington. On the opposite side of that, Siakam had a big game that night. Trent and Anunoby both didn't play. They remain out. And really, that's what's tough for me getting on Toronto in this game. Leans to Toronto, but shorthanded, coming off a really big come-from-behind win. It's tough. A lot of success in the matchup, though. 7-3 straight up, 8-2 against the spread. Beat them earlier this year. And Bucks haven't looked that great on the road, and they're just not covering numbers. So feels like this is one Raptors will hang in, but I wish we had more depth with Anunoby, and that last game, a little bit of a letdown, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, if Bucks were playing any kind of ball, I'd be on the Bucks in this one, looking for a little revenge spot. If they got trounced 130-111 in Toronto earlier this year. As Ben said, you got a Toronto team coming off a miracle comeback. Again, 2 rotation players, Anunoby a starter, and Trent, your first guy off the bench, both out for Toronto. Here's a game Milwaukee needs to get right. Lillard needs to get right. 3 for 17. They need to get right. But they're just not getting it done, especially on the road. But 1-8 against the spread so far this year?
1-8-1, I believe it is.
1-8-1 against the spread so far this year. So the spot that I would be looking to bet Milwaukee, again, with the revenge, coming off the poor shooting game by Lillard, team that's got to get it right against the team missing 2 rotation players, coming off just a phenomenal victory, would be Milwaukee. And nobody just don't like the way Milwaukee's getting it done. Let's see how Lillard fits in more. Not right now. Not doing a good job. I'm staying off this game unless there's a bigger line change.
Then we have Magic at Chicago. This Bulls team, they got a lot of bad reports coming out. They lose to Milwaukee, playing decent ball against the spread the last few games, 2-2, 3-0-1 against the spread. DeRozan, he's out. Caruso is a question mark, and a lot of trade rumors going around Zach LaVine's name. Is DeRozan a part of that? Is that why he's out? So a lot of question marks in the Bulls locker room. I do not want to be back in a team with all that going on. You have Orlando coming into town. They were crushed at Brooklyn last night on a back-to-back. So a little bit of a tough spot here for the Magic. Bulls, all kinds of chaos going on. Lean under in this game and lean ever so slightly to the Magic. But I do not want to side in this battle, John.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Magic really, I don't want to say were crushed last night because they were in a tough game for 3 quarters. 2-point game going into the 4th quarter, and that's just obliterated them 36-18 in that 4th quarter. Again, Magic are a little bit of a deeper team. They'll get Harris back, it looks like. Still Carter and Fultz will remain out. As Ben's alluded to, Chicago Bulls, the trade talk is out there. So when trade talk is out there and DeRozan has got a personal day and he's out, you got to start wondering what's going on. The players all know what's going on. They've been talking about blowing this Bull team up now for a while. We're not saying that's happening tonight, but again, that looks to be the Bulls' future, just who's taking these contracts. So with DeRozan already out, Caruso missing the last 2 games, you're already missing 2 pieces. Kind of evens out the back-to-back for Orlando. Orlando won both meetings in Chicago last year. Right now we're sitting at 1.5, and I think that's right where the number should be. Any more information could tilt it or the line more. No, but right now I'm off the game.
Yeah, we'll see if there's anything picks up with those trade rumors or if there are just rumors. I mean, those went around all last season. Obviously, nothing happened, but clearly, team meeting first game of the season, trade rumors 2 weeks into the season, a lot of issues in Chicago. Moves should be made. We'll see how quick they do it. T-Wolves at Phoenix. Now, obviously, T-Wolves involved in that game last night with Golden State. They pull it out. Now won 7 straight here. McDaniels ejected, questionable for suspension, and he is so key for this matchup. Just their best perimeter defender going up against probably the best perimeter offense in Booker, KD, and Beal, which we'll get the first glance at today. So obviously got to see what's going on with McDaniels in this matchup. I think it's a really tough spot for Minnesota. Just coming off 2 games, winning it both at Golden State. Now you got to travel to Phoenix. The scuffle last night, definitely a bit riled up. So don't love the spot here for the Timberwolves. And Phoenix not really getting it done at home, but they've dominated this matchup. 7 of the last 8 meetings, last 4 in Phoenix by an average of 9.5 points. Leans to the Suns. Might be better going at halftime, seeing how Booker looked coming first game back.
Yeah, got to see. Booker's played 2 games so far this year, and this will be the first time that the big three, big deal, big three are on the court at the same time. Got to see what it looks like. Timberwolves look really good. Hey, hard-fought win last night at Golden State against a decimated Warrior team after 2 minutes. Curry out, no Clay, no Dre after the fight 2 minutes into the game. So Timberwolves really should have taken care of business there. A little bit of a letdown. Do they get back up? But a half a dozen for Phoenix. I get Phoenix has owned this matchup. There's a little bit of a different there's a lot of bit of a different Phoenix team and a little bit of a different Timberwolves team. They look like a better team this year. 6 points too much for me to want to lay. We'll take a look, assess what this Phoenix team looks like with the big three on the court, and we'll see what, again, is McDaniels going to get suspended? I don't know if there's a sure thing he gets suspended. Always remember they can appeal the suspension. Still a chance for McDaniels to play. We'll see how that all shakes out by the mid-afternoon.
Yeah, Booker had a great game opening night, missed a little over a week, came back, and all he did was drop 31, 9, and 13. That was back over 2 weeks ago now almost. So we'll see if he's back to form in any way, if he looks good. But, yeah, best player on the team there. We'll see how Phoenix Big 3 looks. Then we got the Kings going on to L.A. You got this SAC team coming off a win against the Cavs. De'Aaron Fox came back, played good ball, 28 points in 35 minutes. They've now won 3 straight. And you have this Lakers team. Demolished the Grizzlies last night. Took care of business. You guys heard Anthony Davis after the game. It's the first time him and LeBron got to sit in the fourth since the last time they gave the Grizzlies a beatdown in the playoffs. So they got their rest night, a little bit of a sale. Obviously, John mentioned earlier, this is one of our bets today. You have this Lakers team undefeated 5-0 at home. Now just 2-3 against the spread. They get that cover last night. Taking care of business at home, not getting it done on the road. Imagine they try to keep that going. And as John already alluded to earlier, a little bit of revenge game from earlier in the season.
Last night could not have worked out any better for the Lakers. As I said, 74 first half points. Game was a blowout. LeBron 22 minutes, was it? 22 minutes. Nobody played more than 29 minutes on the team. And again, it was a cruise game, not a stressful game. When we talk stressful, it's those last-minute possessions, fighting back and forth. Again, nice, easy game, like playing like an easy practice. They had no travel, obviously. They're back in L.A., so not a real back-to-back. Expect a full complement of minutes out of LeBron and AD, who, look, AD gets some criticism. He's soft. He's this, that. But when this guy's on the court, can still dominate a game. So, yeah, Sacramento comes in today having good luck against the Lakers. They've won 5 of the last 6, and they've 5 of the last 6 overall, and 5 of the last 6 trips to L.A. But I just think the Lakers will be ready for this one. Lakers have to be a favorite, even with Fox back. And I mean, he makes a world of a difference. We saw the difference how this team looks blowing Cleveland out at home, Sacramento, when Fox was back compared to getting trounced at Houston a pair of games. But even with that, I think this game, the Lakers have to be a bucket favorite. They've been playing real good basketball at home. A breeze game last night. We laid pick'em for 2 units on this one with the Lakers.
And then the last game on the card, Cleveland Cavaliers going up to Portland. Final game of a 4-game trip. They lost at Sacramento the other night. Then you have Garland, Okoro, Jerome all out. It's a little bit of a shorthanded team, back end of a trip, traveling to the farthest place in Portland. Blazers, not much better of a spot. They just got crushed at Utah, lost that one by 16. And Brogdon, questionable. So that's where this game stands. If Brogdon's in this lineup, I can get over the bad spot here for Portland, take the big double-digit home dog. Need Brogdon in the lineup. No guards right now with Henderson and Simons already out. He missed last night, so I assume there's a more optimistic chance he plays today. Waiting for an update on that. Cavs, though, they have won the last 4 meetings, 4-0 against the spread, average of 10 points. Just think it's a bit too many points tonight for a final game of a trip, John.
Fourth game, 8-day trip would be too many points if Brogdon plays. But we talk about Anthony Davis, paper mache. That's Brogdon. No. When he plays, he's a player. I don't expect him in because this guy, his injuries just seem to linger. Portland already shorthanded. Anthony Simmons, they lost him second game into the season. And Henderson also out. Both of them out indefinitely. So now you're down to a third guard. They're going to need Brogdon. Back-to-back, they tired at the end of the fourth quarter. Last night in Utah, scored only 13 fourth-quarter points. So you'll have a tired, undermanned Portland team coming in against a Cleveland team that just got scorched at Sacramento. Want to go home with a W under their belt. They've won the last 4 by an average of exactly 10 points per game. But without Garland and that final game of a long trip, tough. The number is right there. If Brogdon plays, hey, I'll take Portland and go let the team beat me by 11 points. That line's sitting at 10.5. Don't expect them to play.
That's the NBA card tonight, guys. Obviously, a lot of injury news that we're waiting on. Knicks, Hawks, that game could swing either way. Celtics, Sixers, same situation going on there. So, obviously, the amount of bets we have tonight will fluctuate based on that injury info. If you guys want all that, you guys know where to sign up, howtobeatthebookie.com, or download the How to Beat the Bookie app. John, things have been hot this week. Hopefully we can keep it rolling here.
Look, it's 7 out of 8 winning days. We had a bad football day on Sunday, not mostly, all due to our totals. Our totals were bad on Sunday. Repented Monday with the Buffalo under. Last night, just really would have liked to get that Denver game. Joker owes us. Hopefully he'll pay that back at some point going forward. That's 2 games in the last week. We've got a few bets out already. NFL, 3 for the weekend. We gave you the Lakers that we have today. And again, guys, just as Ben said, remember it's now 12:04 Eastern. And we're wrapping up this podcast. There's 7 hours before the tip-off for the first game. So yesterday, within those 7 hours, again, you had information on the Heat-Charlotte game. Charlotte without Miller and Hayward. Information on the Philly game. Embiid was in the lineup. We broke the news as we were on the podcast. Trae Young out for Atlanta. San Antonio, Johnson and Jones out. Nothing on the Orlando game. New Orleans game broke after we were done on the podcast that Jones would return. Brogdon, we kind of knew was going to be out for Portland all along. Curry breaks afterwards. As a matter of fact, we even went on Instagram. We had somebody on Instagram saying he's out. But we don't like to give information until he's officially ruled out. If we may assume he's out, but we don't say he's out until he's out. And Ben brought up the point. At that point, the line was Golden State too. If he was out, if he was already ruled out, Timberwolves would be a 2-point favorite. It's all in the number. When you see the numbers move, that's when you know somebody is in or out. So Curry was ruled out far after that, and LeBron James ruled in way after. So the point being, at 11 o'clock, we only know a bunch of questionables. To get all the information, you've got to be a member. You're going to get that up-to-the-minute information. Remember, NBA, an hour before tip-off, you're going to get the lineups. We know who's in, we know who's out, and you get that information, and that's when we can make more bets. We're making bets on who we think's going to play, who we're confident is going to play, or who we're confident is out. Things could change in 8 hours. You want that information.
Yes, you guys do. You guys know where to sign up to get it. Keep on tuning into these podcasts. Help us grow this thing. Like, comment, subscribe below. John, let's make some money.
Let's make some money.